My husband thinks I'm ugly. I've never loved him more. I've always known I'm not conventionally attractive. It's just a fact I've lived with my entire life. Growing up, kids called me names. In high school, I was invisible to boys. In college, I watched my roommates get asked out while I stayed home studying. But when I met Charles 4 years ago at a coffee shop where I spilled latte all over his laptop, he made me feel beautiful for the first time in my life. He never just said I was pretty and left it at that. He'd trace my face with his fingers and tell me I had the kindest eyes he'd ever seen. He'd kiss my forehead and say my smile could light up any room. For 4 years, I actually started believing him. Last Saturday, his college buddies came over for their monthly hangout. These guys had been friends since freshman year, the kind of bond where they could say anything to each other. I was upstairs in the kitchen making my famous buffalo chicken dip and cutting up vegetables when I heard their voices drifting up from the basement rec room. I shouldn't have listened, but I couldn't help myself. At first, it was normal guy talk, work complaints, fantasy football, whose turn it was to pick the next restaurant for their group dinner. Then I heard my name. They were absolutely roasting Charles about me. Dude, seriously? Her? Arthur laughed, and I could hear the beer bottles clinking. I mean, what happened to your standards, man? Another voice, I think it was Anthony, chimed in. Yeah, she's got a nice personality and all, but come on, she's what we used to call a butterface back in the day. The whole group erupted in laughter that made my stomach drop. Remember when you used to date those sorority girls? Someone else added. What was her name? Amber? Now she was smoking hot. I gripped the kitchen counter, my knuckles turning white. This was my worst nightmare coming true. These were Charles's closest friends, the guys he'd known longest, and they were talking about me like I was some charity case. Then Charles exploded. His voice boomed through the house. Shut the hell up, all of you. Just shut up. The laughter died instantly. Yeah, she's not a supermodel, okay? She's not going to be on the cover of Vogue, but she's the most incredible person I've ever met in my entire life. I could hear the passion in his voice, the anger, the protectiveness. She makes me laugh every single day. When I'm stressed about work, she knows exactly what to say. She stayed up all night with me when my mom was in the hospital, sleeping in those horrible plastic chairs. She believes in me when I don't even believe in myself. His voice started to crack with emotion. When I wanted to quit my job to start my own business, everyone told me I was crazy. Everyone except her. She worked extra shifts to help pay our bills so I could follow my dream. She celebrates my wins like they're her own and picks me up when I fail. The basement had gone completely silent. You idiots are so obsessed with Instagram models and perfect faces that you can't see what actually matters. I'd rather have one real woman who loves me unconditionally than 100 fake ones who don't give a damn about who I am as a person. I heard his chair scrape against the floor as he stood up. If you can't respect my wife, and I mean really respect her, not just tolerate her because she's married to me, then get out of my house, right now. Dead silence. Then I heard chairs scraping, mumbled apologies, footsteps on the stairs. The front door opened and closed multiple times until the house was quiet. I stood in the kitchen, tears streaming down my face, but they weren't tears of sadness anymore. They were tears of pure love and gratitude. I found Charles 15 minutes later on the living room couch, head in his hands, shoulders slumped. When he saw me walking down the stairs, his eyes went wide with panic. Did you hear? He started. I didn't let him finish. I crossed the room and kissed him, hard, passionately, like my life depended on it. I heard everything, I whispered against his lips. Every single word. He pulled back, searching my face. I'm so sorry they said those things. I should have stopped them sooner. I should have, Charles, I interrupted, cupping his face in my hands. I've never felt more beautiful in my entire life. His eyebrows furrowed in confusion. For 4 years, you've told me I'm beautiful, and I always wondered if you really meant it, or if you were just being kind. Tonight, I found out the truth. I smiled through my tears. You don't love me despite how I look. You love me because of who I am. You see something in me that goes deeper than skin, and somehow that makes all the difference in the world. He pulled me into his arms and held me tight. Those guys don't get it, he murmured into my hair. They never will. Good, I said, snuggling closer. That just means I get to keep you all to myself.